This movie is a pretty hard-hitting, amazing film, but I'm not letting this movie go without one problem. But this is a pretty darn good movie from 2009 that deserves to be praised. Alright, so it's me, Josh, here. We are going to talk about Cortes, based on the novel Push by Sapphire. Directed by Lee Daniels, produced by Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and 10 other producers. Stars Gabourey Sidibe in her first movie, Monique as her mom, Paula Patton, Mariah Carey, Lenny Kravitz, who also makes a film debut here, and Sherri Shepherd. And what this movie tells the story about is this movie takes place in 1987 Harlem, and we meet Clarice Jones, who she's 16 years old, and she goes by her middle name Precious, and she's an illiterate, overweight girl, and she's pregnant with her second child, which both her children is fathered by her biological dad, who abused her ever since she was a child continually, but we don't see otherwise. Her infant daughter Mongo, such named since she has Down syndrome, she lives with Precious' grandmother, and Precious lives with her mom Mary, who abuses Precious physically, mentally, and emotionally. And Mary, all she does is nothing but smoke, watch television, and she collects welfare through fraud, as she doesn't even ever look for a job at all. And she believes that education doesn't do anything for Precious, who she would rather have collect welfare if only to bring money into the household. And basically, to escape her life, Precious often daydreams of herself in glamorous situations. And because of her current pregnancy, Precious' principal from the one high school transfers her into an alternative school called Each One, Teach One. And in dealing with the school's sympathetic teacher, Miss Blue Rain, Precious begins to believe that she can have a future by learning how to read and write. And despite some devastating news from her mom following the birth of her child, Precious also begins that she can escape the grips of her abusive mother, who up to the point is only Precious' real support. But what Precious doesn't realize is the more she escapes from her mom, the more hell and the more chaos and the more drama that Mary causes for her. This movie is great. I love Precious. This was a really great drama. This movie will leave you breathless, this is a very powerful film. And you could tell Lee Daniels, this was a passion project for him. He wanted to do this very hard, grim story on this girl who struggles through poverty and her abuse with her mom. Now, this movie, it didn't have a distributor at the time, so when they showed it at the film festivals in 2009, Sundance Film Festival and the Cannes Film Festival, under its original title called Push, Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, they decided to provide some promotional assistance for the film, and they found a distributor, which do Lionsgate Entertainment. Now, Lee Daniels, he didn't think that people would be into the movie because of the intensity of what goes on in this movie, and because of the subject matter. And I will say, I'm gonna get to the subject matter in a minute. But let's just say that Lee Daniels directs the hell out of this movie. Every single shot in this movie, you have two cinematographers in here. I'll link all the information to his movie down below. You have to say all of the information is great, is amazing. It's like, wow, it's just a fantastic cinematography. He makes the glamorous scenes look really great in the scenes of Precious having a glamorous lifestyle, and I really like that aspect of the story when Precious is escaping from her life. But when you're in the house with Mary and her, those scenes are just well shot. Every single frame of this movie is well shot. It's from the color scheming to what they're doing, and you can tell Lee Daniels did a really good job. And so at first, the director, like I said, he was embarrassed to show this movie at the Cannes Film Festival because he felt that it would show people like myself in a negative light due to its content. And he didn't want to exploit black people, and he didn't want different races of people to see the horrors of what people go through. But a lot of people respond to it very well, and that's what got to it. Now, this movie is R-rated film, and the R-rated rating, the R rating is not afraid to go places you would not expect. I'm talking about you get assaults, child abuse, assaults on a 16-year-old girl, which is shown in flashbacks. You get Monique's incredible performance, as good as she is in this movie. I hated the character of Mary in this movie. She was just so unlikable. She is one of the worst unlikable characters in history, but she's well written at that. And I like the layers that they added to her, that she is evil. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. She puts her own daughter down, makes her daughter feel like crap, makes her daughter makes her daughter eat freaking food that her daughter cooks, and she complains about it. Honestly, that was one of the hardest parts, but the one scene that really got me is later on in the movie, after Precious has the baby and she goes home, right? I'm gonna get into a little bit of a spoiler here, but her and Precious' baby boy, Abdul, they go home, right? At first, it seems like she's calm and everything. She asks, could she hold him? What's his name? And then she tells Precious to go get her something to drink, right? Then, when Precious does that, she literally takes the baby and throws him onto the couch. And I was just sitting there like, you know what? I've lost my respect for you. And I've lost any respect in this character. And it's not until the end of the movie that we figure out why does Mary always hate Precious. And you find out that she steals her man and letting him abuse her and for making him leave. I was just sitting there when Precious stands up for herself. It's great. I love Gabourey Sidibe. For her first movie, Gabourey Sidibe does a hell of a great performance in this movie. A hell of a great performance. She is amazing. She didn't have any acting experience. She was chosen over 300 other people who auditioned nationwide, and Gabourey Sidibe brings out so much emotion, so much heart into the character of Precious, and I thought she really did a fantastic job for the most part. Especially the scenes that she has with Monique. And then Monique, just at the beginning of this movie, she tries to hit Precious with a frying pan, and then she has this very intense monologue with all of this cursing scene, and it's just like I'm just like, yeah, there's a reason why this is R-rated, people. So I would not show this to kids because they're going to be stunned at the abuse, at the assault, and the profanity. But if you want to watch this with your kids, at least explain to them what's not okay with the mom of Monique. What's and tell me how you can, yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. But the rest of the cast, Paula Patton is great as the teacher who feels sympathy for Precious. I thought Paula Patton was great in here. Mariah Carey is great here as a social worker. She was amazing here. And it doesn't even look like Mariah Carey because she has her hair is dyed black in this movie. But she did a good job. Lenny Kravitz, for his first movie as the nurse John, he was great. The rest of the cast is great too. And the soundtrack choices, I dig the soundtrack choices, especially the song I Can See in Color with Mary J. Blige, and the songs by Queen Latifah and stuff. And you get old songs here, and then I like the song Soul Holiday, and then the score by Mario Grigorov is really good too. This is a very heartbreaking film. Like I said, that's one problem I have with the movie is Monique's character. Monique is great in this movie, don't get me wrong, but you just hate her, and the movie did a good job of doing that. And I feel like for some of the abuse and some of the stuff that Mary does gets a little too out of hand for some viewers, and I think that's why some people are either going to be turned off by this movie's subject matter or by the physical violence acts that Mary does. And I'm just sitting there watching this movie like, I feel bad for you, Precious. And another one of my favorite scenes in this movie, besides the confrontation at the end, is a scene very early on in the movie. It's about the 20-minute mark, is when Precious, she needs money for food, and her mom is just basically annoying her, and I just felt bad for Precious there because she needs food and so she can eat, and then she literally cries. In narration, she says, "The other day I cried, but you know what? Forget about that day." And then the part when she literally has to steal chicken so she can eat, and then she just runs off with it. I thought that was a really good scene because it's showing you what happens when you don't have any, when Mary doesn't take care of her child. But I do love the song choice they got in there for My Good Lovin' with the Brat. So overall, it's a pretty tough watch, but I would say give this movie a watch for the first time before you consider renting the film or buying the film on DVD or Blu-ray. Watch it online, watch it on cable, and see where you stand on it. But if you are very sensitive towards the physical assaults towards women, to the physical abuse, because I am very sensitive when it comes to domestic violence and when it comes to assault in the movies against any character in movies or TV shows. But there are only a few exceptions where I'll give it credibility. If you're very sensitive to subject matter like I just described to you, You ain't gonna like this movie that much. But I will say, give this movie a shot. And if you like it, I recommend it to buy on DVD or Blu-ray. But if you are not a fan of it, I won't recommend it to you. But because of the acting, because of some great cinematography, because of some amazing, fantastic script writing by Geoffrey Fletcher, and some great, fantastic direction by Lee Daniels, I am going to give Precious a better than Vampire Academy. And the reason why I would have been close to giving this movie my seal of approval, but like I said, the scenes of assault and abuse can really turn some viewers off. So I just gave it better than Vampire Academy. And now I'm going to show you my Stardust, the reaction to the film.